Hey guys, and welcome back to yet another video, and today I'm going to review the Canon FD 50mm f1.4 lens. So let's jump right in. Now I'll be reviewing the later revision of this lens, the new FD version, not the SSC version. So this doesn't actually mean that the lens doesn't include the super spectra coating. The lens just doesn't include the SSC name as the hype around coatings kind of started to wear off. But the original FD 50mm f1.4 was released in the early 70s with the FD line itself, and then the NFD, or new FD version, would be released in 1978. But enough history, and let's jump right into my review. So first of all, let's talk about the price. These can be easily found under $100 or even under $50 on eBay. But nowadays there are tons of autofocus 50mm lenses going for many times the price of this little guy. Optically speaking, the Canon EF 50mm f1.4 lens is identical to the FD version, and it has worse build quality, most would say. So you can consider for yourself whether that autofocus is worth it for 4 times the price. Even 50mm f1.8 lenses are going for way more than the FD 50mm f1.4. Granted, those lenses are autofocus, but I would take my FD 50mm any day over those. I really like the natural look of this lens and how organic and kind of smooth look it has. That's not to say that the lens isn't sharp, it just means that it kind of gives like a nice glowy effect that kind of really makes the subject look nice. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at some of the photos that I've taken with it. So here's this lens. I believe it was taken at around f2 or f2.8, so keep that in mind, and it was also taken on the 24 megapixel sensor of my Sony a7 II. So this photo is a great example of just what you can do with this lens for portraits. So if we zoom in here, you can see the lens is perfectly sharp, and it keeps that organic feel. As you can see, the skin tones look very nice, and then look at the bokeh here, which is the out of focus highlights basically. They look really nice, and they give us that nice vintage kind of donut shape where the outside is a little bit sharper than the inside of the bokeh. I really love that look, but it's personal preference. And if you'd like to see how I edited this photo, I'll link my portrait editing guide here. And we can take a look at another portrait photo I have. You can zoom in again and we can see these skin tones are really natural, really smooth. I really like using this lens for portraits. And additionally, you can see that the whole background here is out of focus. That's due to the f1.4 aperture in the lens. So it really isolates the subject here. I really like that. And another feature that I absolutely love about this lens is its close minimum focusing distance, which allows me to get photos like this, where I can get up to, I think, 1.5 feet away from my subject, and have that be perfectly in focus, and just kind of blow out that background. So if I take this photo, which is unedited, we can see that it's just like completely blown out in the background. And that's kind of what I like to look for in a macro lens. But it's not particularly a macro lens. There is an FD version of a macro lens, but it just works very well for this purpose. And with a little bit of editing, I can make the photo look like this, which I really like as a photo. So something else I really like about this lens is how well it works as a video lens. I'm actually using it right now so you can kind of get a feel of how it looks as a video lens. And I've actually modified my lens a little bit, so I've declicked the aperture of the lens. So instead of getting loud tactile clicks when I change the aperture ring on the lens, it's kind of like a smooth adjustment, so I don't get that nasty loud click when I'm trying to change my aperture in the middle of recording. It's not actually super tricky to do. There are plenty of tutorials here on YouTube. I'll link a few that I used in the comments, and I would definitely recommend that if you plan on using this lens for video. This lens is also super easy to adapt to either your mirrorless or DSLR system, and all you need is a pretty affordable adapter. But anyway, that's all I've got time for today, and if you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and leave a comment, and if you didn't, please dislike, and I will see you in the next video.